Hi everyone, today we are going to learn about AWS networking fundamentals. We will cover the basics of AWS networking building blocks, and by the end of this video, you will understand how these components work together. First, we have VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. In AWS, all networking begins with a VPC. You can think of it as your own private virtual network in the cloud, similar to the traditional network in an office. A VPC lets you control IP address ranges, create subnets, and manage routing. It is fully isolated and secure, meaning it is not shared with other AWS customers. One important thing to note is that a VPC exists at the region level. Without a VPC, you cannot launch network-dependent resources like EC2 instance or RDS. For example, if we create a VPC with a network range of 10/16, this will be the foundation for everything inside. Next, we have Subnet. Subnet is a subdivision network of VPC. Think of it as a smaller separate network inside a large VPC. Subnet can be public, private, or isolated. We will go into more details about this on the next slide. Any network-related resources in AWS like EC2, load balancer, or RDS are launched inside Subnet. Subnets are created within an availability zone, for example US East 1A, 1B, or 1C. Let's also take a look at the network table for this VPC and its subnet. We have created a VPC with the network 10/16 and divided into three subnets, subnet A, B, and C. Now, we have a VPC, subnets, and resources like EC2 and RDS inside the subnets. Sometimes, these resources need to communicate with the internet. If a resource needs direct internet access and should be publicly accessible, we attach an internet gateway to the subnets. This makes a public subnet. Resources in a public subnet must have public IP to communicate with the internet. If we want the resources to access internet privately without exposing their details, we use a NAT gateway. This makes private subnet. Resources in a private subnet do not need a public IP. They use the NAT gateway as a secure middleman. But if the resources do not need to communicate with the internet and should stay isolated, the subnet for those resources does not connect to any gateway. This is called isolated subnet. A subnet can route traffic to either an internet gateway or a NAT gateway. But here's the catch. The resources within a subnet don't know how to reach them. That's where the route table comes in. Route table defines how traffic from a subnet is directed. For a public subnet, the route table has an entry that sends all internet-bound traffic to the internet gateway. Similarly, for a private subnet, the route table has an entry that routes internet-bound traffic to the NAT gateway. So far, we have seen subnets and resources accessing the internet, but what about controlling the network traffic? This is where security groups and network ACLs come in. They act as a firewall to protect your resources. A security group is a firewall at the resource level. It controls inbound and outbound traffic, letting you specify exactly what traffic is allowed in and out from that resources. You can think of it as a protective layer around each resources. A network ACL, on the other hand, is a firewall at a subnet level. It controls traffic coming in and out from the entire subnet. Rules are set for an inbound and outbound traffic. And that brings us to the end of the video. I hope this video helped you understand the basic building blocks of AWS networking. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comment below. Thanks for watching.